Try to fix my camera and hope it stays. I wanted to talk a little bit. I'm back. I was watching some stuff today and yesterday on shadow work. And I had a couple of things that I saw that I don't want you to see and take an impression away. So the first thing I want to tell you is shadow work is working on oneself in the deepest form, coming to realizations, waking up spiritually, and letting go of past hurt, harm, anger, disruptive life patterns. That's all shadow work. All of it. And you will get... I want to be very careful what I say because I'm not trying to pick a fight on YouTube. But you will get information saying that shadow work is just this, and this is how you do it. I disagree with that because shadow work is not just anything. It is extremely deep. It is extremely lengthy. I don't think it is anything you ever finish. I want to stress that. It's not something you ever finish. Shadow work starts when you decide to start doing it. When you decide to start realizing things about yourself, letting go of things about yourself that you're not pleased with, digging into who you are and why you react certain ways. And either you are okay with those ways or you want to change those ways. Now you've got to delve in deep. It is not a simple anything. Nothing. Nothing about shadow work is simple. But I'm not saying that to detour anyone from working on shadow work, to delving into themselves. And really, I think everyone should really delve into themselves and try to figure out who they are, who they want to be, and make those appropriate discoveries. But I don't want anyone to be misled by being told, to be misled by hearing that it's a simple process, that you can accomplish it in just a few weeks, and that it ends. That there is an end to it, that, you start it and you finish it. Because as long as we live, we are growing and changing and becoming and shaping. And, we may love ourselves today and day after tomorrow see a reaction in ourselves that we're completely unhappy with. And you don't just stop shadow work. Shadow work is something that is a lifelong process. And I don't want anyone to be misled. How do you do shadow work? I'll be honest with you. There's no simple answer to that. Everyone approaches shadow work in their own way. Some people journal. That's how I got through my shadow work, which I have been deeply involved in shadow work in my life for at least the last 20 years. And when I say deeply, I mean I journal even at work every day. Anytime I see a reaction in myself that I don't know where it came from or I don't know what it's from, I explore it. Anytime I get a thought process that I think is, wow, I don't want to be that. I don't want to think that way. Those are times I begin shadow work on that particular thing. But shadow work is not something that I ever started and thought I would complete, because I am a changing and evolving being, and as long as I change and evolve, so will my desire to change and evolve. So there's no ending. I can't answer how you approach shadow work if I'm not telling you my story. And my story is I began really approaching shadow work with a journal and having self-discoveries, things that came to me from writing, things such as, I will never forget, the biggest eye-opener I had was when I realized, now this is my opinion, I am not shoving this off on anyone, and I am not saying you need to believe this. I am simply saying this is my opinion, and this is something that has helped me immensely, was having the discovery that, in my belief, I was given a choice of lives in the beginning. This life would be this way, this life would be that way, this life would be that way. And knowing full on before this life happened that it was going to be X amount of difficult, and that it was going to have X amount of challenges, and that I was going to have to overcome these things, I think I came into this life eyes wide open. I don't think I remember it, but I think I get glimpses of that deal that I made. I think we're given an array of lives, an array of people to choose from, or beings to choose from. And this is my thought process. I am not pushing it on anyone. But I believe I looked at this woman, this child, this person who was going to go through trials, and I thought I could really do some good there. And I believe I chose this life. I believe I chose these challenges. I believe I had to overcome certain things to help this person grow into the next stage of whatever you want to call it. Some people think that you reincarnate until you learn all your lessons. Some people think, there's a million beliefs, but I think that I chose this life and this being because I thought I could do the most good. I had that realization while journaling on a trip. Husband was driving, but he was doing the driving and I was journaling on the trip. I had been deep in self-work for about a year at that point. And when I say deep in self-work, I mean I slept, ate, breathed, drank. I lived in self-work because I was a mess back then. Emotionally and mentally having a lot of difficulty. My parents had passed. My father had passed, and that left me with a lot of work to do. So at any rate, without getting into tons of details, I had that realization while we were driving. And when I had that realization, for me, it helped me to release so much baggage that I had been carrying from childhood, from my young adulthood, from adulthood. It helped me release that because I realized I didn't have to be a victim. I could stop allowing people to walk on me. I could quit being the doormat, and I could stop being a victim. Not only portraying a victim to others, but to myself. That I could finally stand up and say, hey, I'm supposed to make the best life possible here. This is how I'm going to go about doing that. These are the changes I'm going to make. And at that moment of realization, my shadow work took off. I grew leaps and bounds in that next few months. With myself, I grew and changed and transformed and started becoming someone I really wanted to be, who was not a victim, who did not lay down and cower, who did not look at life as though it was after her or out to get her, that I hadn't been dealt such a crappy hand to go through life with, poor me. All of that went away, all of it. And instantaneously, it went away. And over the next few weeks, I became someone I had always wanted to be. And just from that one realization in shadow work. So that's one of my experiences that I wanted to share. But I wanted to share it because I wanted you to see that it was a process. And this happened in 1999. Yeah. So this was what, 20 years ago? 20, 30 years ago? Somewhere in there, 20 something years ago. And I am still doing shadow work all these years later. So it is not something that ends. And I don't want you to hear that and think that it is a process that you just complete and, boom, you're over it. Do you come to moments of being able to kind of ease off and being comfortable and being happy where you're at? Yes, you do, a million of them. But life is transforming, and we constantly evolve. And so shadow work can come up again and again. I'm not saying it will for every human. I'm simply saying I don't want anyone to be misled by thinking that it's something you begin and end in a few short months and accomplish everything you need and become the perfect person and have the perfect life because you sat down and started doing some shadow work. Can that all happen? Yes, it can. Yes. Oh, most definitely. Yes, it can. But not in a couple of weeks and not a start and finish. And I heard that today and I thought, I've got to go talk to my people and tell them, in case they see this, that it's really not that black and white. It is really not that black and white. Again, I can't tell you how to do shadow work. I can tell you that shadow work involves looking inside, finding the things about yourself you're pleased with and embellishing them, and finding the things about yourself that you wish you could change or desire to make different in some way, not necessarily change, but maybe guide yourself a different direction. And that is shadow work. And shadow work is so rewarding and so healthy and so promising. It gives you the ability to be that person that you've always dreamt you could be. You just work for it. That's all. And it's worth it. It's so worth it. But please don't think it's a simple process that you just begin and end in a few weeks and then it's over and you're all better and everything's perfect. Because life is not like that. It's never just perfect. What makes life perfect is our perspective of life and our perspective of our life. I feel I have the perfect life. I know damn good and well that's not true. But it's perfect for me. It fits for me. And when I hit a snag, I work on it. And I always keep the perspective that my life is wonderful, happy, fun, full of joy. I love my life. And if you keep that perspective, no matter where you're at in your shadow work, it becomes easier to deal with. It becomes easier to face life when you have that perspective. I have a client here, so I have to go. This rambled longer than I wanted anyway. I love you all. You're great, wonderful people. You are divine, sacred beings of light and love. I love each and every one of you, and I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.